o'clock. When you choose a child care provider, you're trusting your child's going to be safe. Well, tonight, potential warning signs parents need to know about. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shay McAllister.
And I'm Eric King, and tonight for Doug Profit, investigators are sharing critical information to keep in mind after two recent events. Last week, there were two arrests made in southern Indiana. Both involved death and injury of infants. Two women who offered child care services in their private homes are now facing charges. Jose Alonso and photojournalist Emma Gefter are taking a deeper look into steps you can take to make sure your children are safe.
Yet another unlicensed private child care provider is in court, this time in Scott County, Indiana, as the Indiana State Police and the prosecuting office has brought forth felony charges after a mother had to rush their 8-month-old to a local hospital. 26-year-old Lawrence Salyers was arraigned in court digitally via Zoom, appearing in green and white stripes and facing 2 felony charges on battery and neglect of a dependent. Salyers' arrest was made on Friday at her home in Austin, Indiana, where ISP says medical professionals determined the child under her care suffered a skull and arm fracture. The state police stress how important it is to look into who you leave your children with.
There's unlicensed daycares, there's licensed daycares, so parents just really need to do their research. It's a hard situation from people wanting to work, having to pay for child care, which is very expensive. But you have to do your due diligence as a parent.
This is the second similar arrest made in southern Indiana in the same week. Brittany Baylor was charged in Clark County 2 years after the death of an infant in her care. ISP says having these cases back to back is uncommon for them, but that parents should always look into who they're leaving their kids with, even if it's a neighbor. In Scott County, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 on your side.
Salyers' bond is set at $65,000. He's expected back in court August 1st.
And today the search continues for an 8-month-old Maya Rudd missing from Reynolds Station, Kentucky. Both her parents and her grandparents are in custody. They tell police that baby has not been seen since April. Kentucky State Police opened a missing child's investigation on Thursday after they executed a search warrant and a welfare check for Maya. KSP arrested Maya's parents, Tesla Tucker and Cage Rudd, and her grandfather, Ricky Smith. All three face charges of child abuse and abandonment in addition to several drug charges. Maya's grandmother, Billy Rudd Smith, was also arrested on domestic violence charges. The family members were scheduled for court appearances throughout the day today. Well, if you have any information on where this little girl might be, you should call Kentucky State Police. You see her here. It's Post 16 who's working this case. You can reach them at 270-826-3312.
New tonight, take a look at the damage left by two boys who allegedly stole a school bus in Knox County. The Knox County Sheriff says just before 3 a.m., two boys ran from the Appalachian Children's Home. Deputies believe they stole this bus from the Knox County school bus garage. A Knox County Schools spokesperson said the boys used something to jam the ignition and start the bus. They drove that bus to Lexington, where it crashed through a chain link fence. The two boys are charged with auto theft and criminal mischief. All right, starting right now, the JCPS Board of Education's Policy Committee will consider if medical cannabis should be allowed on district campuses.
While the committee handles the new Kentucky law, the Louisville Metro Council is weighing zoning options for budding businesses. Ian Hardwick and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton have details.
It needs to be available for all the kids. Anyone that needs to use it, it needs to be available.
As an honorary member of Kentucky Moms for Medical Cannabis, Dee Dee Taylor hears how cannabis helps kids struggling with seizures.
Medical cannabis has made a huge difference for so many kids, and I get goose pimples about want to cry because I'm happy to be a part of it.
She pushed for Kentucky's medical legalization and now hopes the JCPS Board of Education will let students keep their prescribed cannabis at school.
It's about being responsible and responsible use in general.
The state law legalizing medical cannabis in Kentucky allows school boards to decide whether or not they want the drug on their campuses or not. If they do allow it, they have to adopt the state's language as well. It gives parents two options. They can either let a nurse or school staff member supervise their student taking the medicine, or the parents can come and do it themselves. Louisville Metro Council's Planning and Zoning Committee is also considering where medical cannabis businesses can be in the city. While the state bans dispensaries within 1,000 feet of a school or child care facility, the committee is considering adding parks, community centers, religious buildings, and athletic facilities to the list.
the state's got enough.
Councilman Dan Syme Jr. is concerned the committee could push out the expanded ban too soon and wants more public comment on the topic. However, the licensing period for the new businesses begins on July 1st, and those won't be able to select locations until regulations are decided.
Hold off a little bit and catch our breath. Like I said, we've got some of the strongest regulations right now in the original bill. I think we're good enough with them. We don't want to add any more impedance to those who want to be in the industry.
The first steps on both decisions begin this week, but need to pass out of committee before being finalized. In Louisville, Ian Hardwick, WHAS 11, on your side.
The Metro Council's Planning and Zoning Committee meets tomorrow afternoon. Now, the JCPS Board Policy Committee will still need to present its decision to the full Board of Education before those rules are finalized. All right, we should take a closer look at the medical marijuana regulations that are here. Businesses will have to apply for licenses. Most likely, they'll have to do that through a lottery system, and the lottery is now set for October. Only the cultivation side, or on the cultivation side rather, that only leaves 2 to 3 months to set up, plant, and grow cannabis, and then harvest and process it for market, where it will be legal to purchase on the first day of next year.
And today we're seeing how Kentucky pairs nationwide when it comes to taking care of our kids. The latest National Kids Count data ranks the Commonwealth 38 nationwide in overall child well-being. That's from Kentucky Youth Advocates and the Annie E. Casey Foundation, which shows improvements from last year when the state was ranked 40th overall. The report shows we have gotten better in both economic well-being and family and community. However, Kentucky did see a drop in education, sitting at 33rd compared to 29 last year. It also dipped one rank to 43rd in the family and community category. County-level data for Kentucky is set to be released sometime this fall. And now a look at how Indiana is doing, ranking higher at 27th for overall well-being and 15th for economic well-being. When it comes to education, the Hoosier State ranks 17th compared to Kentucky's 33rd, and it takes the 31st spot for family and community.
All right, if there was a day to rinse and repeat, Colleen, I would say it's this one. Feels great, looks great, just a great time to be outside.
Oh, it feels so nice out there. I love the lower humidity, especially when we're getting into the month of June. But where did the sun go? We were sunny at noon, and now we're cloudy, and that's because there's just this short wave system that's just bringing some clouds, no rain in that forecast. But here's a look at our high-res satellite right now. Just seeing some clouds out there, no rain, 69 degrees, and temperatures are a little bit cooler because of that. We did cool off a little bit, 67 at Bowman, 69 over in E-Town. So if you're hanging out this evening, maybe dinner on the patio, we have partly cloudy skies, feeling very dry and comfortable out there. We're going to start to see the peaks of sunshine right before sunset when those clouds push on through. And by 10 o'clock, we should be mostly clear out there. And tomorrow, we have a spread of sunshine. We're waking up to the 50s and 60s. Another comfortable setup, temperatures in the upper 70s. Enjoy it while you can, because we are tracking some heat later this week, especially next week. Looking ahead at those longer range models, we're starting to get into that summertime pattern. But your high tomorrow, 79 degrees, very pleasant, nice sunny skies, 77 in Shepherdsville. Because of low pressure, this is our upper level waves, that's going to move on out. High pressure, you might have remembered this from last summer, that creates a dome of heat, and that's really going to dominate areas over in Texas to the Midwest. I'm going to talk about how if we could break that record heat coming up shortly. Eric, Shay.
All right, Colleen, thank you so very much. Heads up, starting today, parts of Cannons Lane will shut down for a new sidewalk project. It's part of a federally funded project, which will add more than 3,000 feet of sidewalks along the road. It'll also add new curbs and a new drainage system. The southbound lanes of Cannons will close from Willis Avenue to Winchester Road. Cars will be detoured to Breckenridge Lane. And just so you know, that project is expected to take 3 to 4 months.
The Zonton Fire Department has now released funeral plans for their fallen chief, John Vickers.
Vickers lost his battle with cancer just a few days ago, and now the community he served for more than 40 years will get the chance to honor his memory. The funeral is set for Thursday, June 13th. There will be a short procession around 9:15 in the morning, starting at Shopping Horse Funeral Home, going to Okolona Christian Church. Now, the public is encouraged to line the streets and greet them and wave flags. After the service, there will be a second, larger procession from Preston Highway to the Louisville Memorial Gardens.